It's Daily Stoic time. Welcome.
Another day, another Daily Stoic.
Oh, I like that. Where are we? My ribbon will tell me. Today, March 19th. Timeless wisdom. Let's do it.
Let's read it.
All right. We're seeing what we are getting ourselves into here. Turn on your philosophy brain. I'm expecting for something to really confuse me. Okay. You ready?
It's great to go into a dark, we have no idea what this is about.
We've just been talking about project management tools for the last 2 hours. So, okay. Timeless wisdom, Epictetus.
Let's do it.
For there are 2 rules to keep at the ready, that there is nothing good or bad outside my own reasoned choice, and that we shouldn't try to lead events, but to follow them.
Can you read the second part again?
Sure. I don't know what the second part is, so I'll read the whole thing. For there are 2 rules to keep at the ready, that there is nothing good or bad outside my own reasoned choice, and that we shouldn't try to lead events, but to follow them.
Events, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so number 1, there is nothing good or bad outside my own reasoned choice. What does he mean by that?
What do you think? What are you thinking?
Okay. There is nothing good or bad outside my own reasoned choice. So he's saying that I have the ability to choose. I can choose in a reasoned way or an unreasoned way.
Sure, that would be the good
or the bad
that you have control over. And anything outside of that, you have no control.
Is not good or bad. So what's good or bad is that I have the ability to choose something reasonable or unreasonable. They like to use that word reason a lot, the Stoics.
Yeah, because they're the way I understand it is when you use reason, you are choosing, your choice will be wiser than if you don't use the reason, right? So therefore, that's the good. The outcome, again, is very questionable. You don't know what the outcome will be, but the choice when you were making it was within going through a filter of reason, and because of that, it was a good choice to make at that time.
Okay, I vote for that as the meaning of that section. And that we shouldn't try to lead events, but to follow them. Which I'm connecting back to what you were just saying of you don't control the outcome. And so we're not trying to lead events. We're not trying to pull life along on a leash. We know we can't control the outcome. So we let life deliver the outcome to us, and we're sort of following it. And as we're following it, we're making reasoned choices about what to do about it all. So it's this give and take with life.
Yeah, maybe be the leader, but don't stand out or something, or don't be a leader without leading it or something
lead yourself through the decision making, but then follow.
Maybe just lead yourself.
Yeah.
But don't try to lead others.
Life.
Yeah, or life or something. If you end up leading people, then lead it. If you end up in a leadership position, you shouldn't try to not want to be in a leading role in life, right? But
Yeah.
maybe it's like meant like you're saying, like don't try to lead everything, because it's like more go with the flow kind of, you know.
Yeah, I'm also not hearing it commenting on leadership as like a way of communicating with people or like organizing work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing it more as like don't try to control what's not yours to control.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, I'm following the events of life because the events are already happening, whether I like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So why would I try to lead
Push
something that's
yeah.
not, that I can't actually lead? The only thing I
Mm-hmm.
can do in this way is to follow them. And in following them, I'm now like making choices based on whatever the life serves me, basically. The events of, I'm just thinking like events is like anything that life could serve you.
Sure.
Life decides what happens right now in this moment.
Right. Yeah. Hmm.
This one is really cool. You ready for Ryan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here is Ryan Holiday's commentary. In the mid-20th century, there was an Indian Jesuit priest named Anthony de Mello. Born in Bombay when it was still under British control, de Mello was an amalgam of many different cultures and perspectives. East, West, he even trained as a psychotherapist. It's interesting when one sees timeless wisdom develop across schools, across epochs and ideas. Here's a quote from de Mello's book, The Way to Love, that sounds almost exactly like Epictetus. The cause of my irritation is not in this person, but in me.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, each individual has a choice. You are always the one in control. The cause of irritation, or our notion that something is bad, that comes from us, from our labels or our expectations. Just as easily, we can change those labels. We can change our entitlement and decide to accept and love what's happening around us. And this wisdom has been repeated and independently discovered in every century and every country since time began.
Hmm.
I'm hearing more of an emphasis in Ryan's thing of like how you react to things. Like, am I taking what just happened as something good or bad?
What just happened, right? Like, so then there will be the outside.
Like, I'm following that event. It just happened. And now I need to react to it. So I need to make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And am I taking that as good or bad? Like, what value judgment am I placing on it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like the takeaway again for me is this is again another like it's permeating throughout these different days.
Yeah.
It has this similar vibe to it, that that point of like you can, what you have control over and what you don't have control over. And it's like it's almost easier to start thinking about it, about like what you don't have control over, right? Because it's like you want to kind of kid yourself a lot of times, like, oh, I'm gonna put two lists together, things that I don't have control over and things I do have control over, right? But then like I have trouble with what I have control over, right? But this list is giant, right? And then over here, it's really because this one is what you have control over is really those just the choices, like what you choose, right? And then how are you looking at it? Like what perspective Are you consider other perspectives in while you are seeing your perspective, or is it just your perspective?
Yeah.
So those are that's what's on the right side of where you have control over.
Yeah, like you have control over your perspective of how you see things, and then you have control over how you show up. So the things you say to somebody else, or your behavior and actions and the things you do, and those are created by and informed by the perspective. So other people don't see your control over your perspective. They don't see into that layer of it, but they see how that then your perspective that you have control over is downstream of that is the what you're saying and what you're doing in the world. And so people are seeing that in you. But those are kind of, I think, the three areas that you really have control over in any situation.
And just to add to that is the things that you have control over might be a small list today, because you might look at something like, oh, do I have control over my emotions? Like, well, not that much, right? They just kind of arise. Like, I don't have much control over it, right? So currently, emotions might be on the I can't control those things, right? But you might slowly start playing around with it, and all of a sudden, like my anger, I can express my anger, but I don't have to, but I have control over how I'm expressing anger. So it's not out of control, it is controlled expression of anger. Therefore, I can put it on the right side. Oh, I can control some of my emotions. And control, that does not mean don't have them. It's how you're having them.
It's almost like knowing what to do with them they show up.
And as they're showing up, do you have control to steer them towards something productive, or you have no control over it, right? So if you don't have control over it, then you say, well, yeah, my emotions are over here on this list of I don't have control over it. But they can end up on that right side, or on whatever this side is for whomever. Yeah, so something like that. Yeah, I like that there is this potential possibility of adding things, learning things about ourselves, and then by doing so, all of a sudden we realize that the things we didn't have as much control over, now we have some control over them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the dream. Like, that's the dream of self-improvement right there.
Yeah.
Is to every day be pulling more into the bucket of controlling the things that I do have control over, my perspectives, and my perspectives are intertwined with emotions. Like, I feel something based on the beliefs that I have about it, and like the point of view that I'm carrying about a situation or myself. It's that actually produces the emotional content. And so, yeah, it's like I have to learn how to upgrade all of my perspectives and my point of view so that I'm calibrated more to reality and not to these like self-deceptions that I have, fantasies that I think the world works like this, but it really doesn't. And because of that delta, it's creating issues for me in my life. And so, yeah, I think we're like, the Stoic thing helps us like get clear on like, wait, this is my work. Like, I can actually control this. So I should like not be spending my time being like, I don't like that this happened, or this person effed up, or like whatever the case may be that has you sort of like looking elsewhere to the things you can't control, to wanting to lead the events.
So it's like using that filter so quickly, like, hey, do I have control over this? When something happens,
what do I have control over?
Right? Do I have it? What do I have?
What do I have control over? Yeah.
And now you're all of a sudden like, this goes into this bucket of let go of this because I have work to do. I have work to do on this. What I have control over, and this stuff, Spend at least amount of time on that, because you're just wasting your time on things you have no control over.
Right, because if I spend time in that area, what it means, like according to today's quote, is like I would be trying to lead the events instead of follow them. And so it's like, no, let that be what it is. It already happened. The guy already cut me off, you know, whatever.
And leading it is like continue to try to
complaining about it, going into the past. You can try to lead from even looking back on something in the past
versus the life is already telling you go do
accept this, move on, this is how it is. I'm sorry you're disappointed. I'm sorry that
go do the things you have control over.
Pay attention to your work here. This is why I like Stoicism, because it gives you like something to do, you know. I really like that. Today's was really cool.
Good stuff. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Me too.
Cool. You gotta get up and turn it off though.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.